try to understand what is API. What is API? API is basically application programming interface. Let's take an example like Swiggy. Swiggy is a food delivery app, right? Food delivery app. So for food delivery, directly Swiggy what need? So Swiggy need restaurant. Swiggy needs user, rider, and what Swiggy exactly need from the outside. So that is native from the inside. So this is very core features of Swiggy. It's very core features of Swiggy, right? And which is not that much of core features is map. Map is not a core features, but we need map. So who is providing the app map to the Swiggy app? The Google Map can provide the Swiggy map for Swiggy application. Okay. So Google create one API, application programming interface. From that, we can directly call that map API in the Swiggy app. In the same way, Swiggy create a API for showing the restaurant. Swiggy create a API for giving the order. So application programming interface is basically the connection between the front end and the database, front end and the map. So basically our application will run based on the interface. This interface is a API, application programming interface. So that is API. So the first lecture we have to know how to create a API using JavaScript. Code JavaScript. There is nothing Node, nothing Express, nothing in it. Okay. So for that we have to install Node first. Okay. Node we have to install in our application. In our system we have to install Node first. Okay. So how to check the Node is installed or not? So if we can just write node -v, then we can see the node version 24.11.1. So we do not need any npm package to create the fast API using JavaScript. So how to start writing this API? So this is the fundamental question. Okay. So let's start from the server.js. So I create one folder that is server.js. I create one file inside this basic API folder that is server.js. So how I can write? So I need to write const http that is require from http. So now the question will arise, how does this http will come? This HTTP is a features that is provided Node itself. We do not need to create any npm package. We do not need to install anything to that for that. We just need to add this line that require HTTP. By adding this, we can access the HTTP. Okay. So we do not need nothing. If you see this package.json, then you can see this is a common file. You do not need anything such like that for HTTP. Okay, so you do not need anything. HTTP is a common features that Node only provide this. In the same way, various things like fs for the file system, path for the file path, that is automatically provided by the Node.js. We do not need to install anything for that. Okay. Now what is the next line? Next line is a const server equal to http dot create server, and we have to pass two things. One is request and another one is response. Okay. Then what we have to do? Then that's it. Okay. Okay. And here we can write console.log request received. right? Here what we can write, server dot listen. We have to listen the server in a particular port, right? So this port can be anything. As of now I am using this 3000 port. Maybe we can use 4000 port or any port we can use in our system. Okay. So like that, if we try to access this localhost 3000. Okay, so let me run this. So how I can run this? I can run by using node start or npm start. Okay, we do not have to mention anything. I have npm installed, so I'm writing npm start over there, right? So now you can see this port is started. So if I try to access this localhost 3000, then what happened? Then we can see the request received. That means request receipt is printed. Now what? Now we have to check what is coming in request.method. This method means it can be post, it can be get, it can be put, it can be delete. And one other point is request.url. Request.url means the URL. Okay, the request.method and request.url. Okay, so here if we try to access this, then request.url will be API/data and request.method will be get, because we are calling from the browser. Okay, let's see. Let's stop this and try to run this. Then if you open this application again here, then you can see these things are coming. This is API/data and this method is get. So as of now, this is the first functionality. Next functionality, we have to install something. We have to send a response by calling a particular API. Let's not talk about database right now. Let's say this is the database data, where we have the array of object and where the ID is 1, name is John Doe, and the email is something like this. There is some email at the .com like this. Okay. So there is a database is coming. So what my goal is? My goal is to send this database information in the API response. Okay. So let's talk about this point. So if request.method is equal to get and request.url is /user, let's say this. Let's take this example. Okay. So what happened? What is basically doing? So we already discussed this request.method is get is printed. So that is why I write here get. And request.method is whatever the method we can, whatever the URL, whatever the endpoint we can try to access, that should be this request.url. Okay. And here I can write console.log request processing completed, wrong URL, with wrong URL. Okay, with wrong URL. Right. So let's see what happened now. So I am trying to access this. So if I try to access this, what happened? So I'm stopping this and start again. See, the ideally it should show this message, this request processing completed with wrong URL, because we try to access the data using API/data, but request.method is wants for users, not request.data. So if we can put there users, then what happens? Let's see. Then we can see the data coming from the database. So this database can be anything. This database data user can reuse this in their application, in the Node.js program, or in the API development program, or in the front end application in any language, or in the mobile application. So this is how this server setup is done using plain JavaScript. So this is the very easy and very short technique. What we have to do, we just need to require two things. One is this HTTP that we need to add in the beginning. We need to create the server by using HTTP create server, and we have to add server.listen that should be listen in 3004. So this is the all regarding the API. Okay, that's it. Thank you.